breakups feel utterly overwhelming, and the days that follow often bring a roller coaster of emotions. You might reel from the sudden absence of someone you deeply cared about, or you may feel blindsided by a conflict you never saw coming. These reactions are normal. Emotions can run high and fluctuate between sadness, anger, regret, and longing. In fact, you might find yourself cycling through all these feelings in the same day. I understand how disorienting it is to navigate that emotional whirlwind. You wonder whether the pain will ever go away, and you might feel tempted to reach out for one last conversation or closure. However, this article will guide you through a healthier path. We'll examine why a clear no-contact strategy can jumpstart your healing, how sincere apologies help you accept the breakup gracefully, and how shifting the dynamic of your interactions can help you find peace, perspective, and possibly rekindle what was lost if that's a realistic option. Coping with a breakup is never easy. A breakup represents a significant life transition, one that often triggers a stressful response much like grief or loss. Your brain scrambles to recalibrate in the absence of a partner who once offered emotional reassurance. Psychologists frequently compare breakups to grieving because, in essence, you mourn the end of a shared life path. You might also question your sense of self, especially if you built much of your identity around the relationship. Embrace the fact that you need time to acknowledge these feelings. Studies in emotional regulation suggest that when we identify our emotions clearly, we reduce some of their overwhelming power. Denial or suppression often breeds confusion and increases the intensity of intrusive thoughts. We're going to explore these painful emotions and outline healthy ways to manage them, beginning with accepting the breakup on your own terms. Acceptance is a cornerstone of emotional healing. Accepting the breakup gracefully means refraining from constant guilt trips, obsessive texting, and blame. It also involves recognizing that sometimes relationships end because of deeper incompatibilities or life circumstances outside your control. Psychologists often invoke the concept of radical acceptance, which suggests acknowledging reality without rejecting or denying it. Once you accept that the breakup happened and honor the pain it causes, you create the perfect environment for clarity and growth. You show yourself compassion for your mistakes and for the heartbreak you feel. You also open the door to reflect on what you can do differently next time, whether with the same person, if reconciliation eventually emerges, or in future relationships. Brené Brown, in her book Rising Strong, says, "Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do." Her insight reminds us that courage doesn't mean ignoring the hurt. Instead, it involves standing in the midst of heartbreak, learning the lessons, and moving forward stronger. It helps to remember that growth starts when you accept and integrate every emotion, even the distressing ones, into a new sense of self. That willingness to face every aspect of your breakup lays the groundwork for the next steps, including sincere apologies for your part in the relationship's breakdown. After a breakup, many individuals slip into rumination. This term describes an unrelenting focus on upsetting events or feelings, running through scenarios repeatedly, as if you could solve them by reliving them. Unfortunately, rumination usually intensifies the pain by reinforcing negative emotional patterns rather than alleviating it. You might wake up each morning replaying every argument, second-guessing every choice, or lamenting lost opportunities. That level of focus locks you in the past, preventing you from embracing the opportunities that the present and future hold. It also feels natural to experience anxiety and fear as you detach from someone who once felt irreplaceable. If your relationship was long-term, you may worry about never finding someone else who truly understands you. When that anxiety threatens to paralyze you, remind yourself that acceptance means realizing that your feelings of isolation or despair will eventually shift. Emotional states rise and fall, and your mind can't sustain maximum intensity forever. Recognize your feelings, give them space, and practice healthy self-talk. This will help you proceed to the next phase of your healing journey, acknowledging your part and offering sincere apologies if needed. A heartfelt apology can act like a balm for both parties following a breakup. This doesn't guarantee reconciliation, nor does it dismiss your ex-partner's role in the relationship issues. Instead, it serves a deeper emotional and psychological purpose. It shows that you've recognized your mistakes and you're taking responsibility for your actions. You're owning the role you played in the breakdown. Research in interpersonal relationships explains that apologizing can reduce lingering resentment and help both individuals find emotional closure more quickly. Even if you never return to a romantic bond, a genuine apology acknowledges your ex-partner's pain, lays a foundation for less bitterness, and supports your own healing. However, sincerity is crucial. An apology filled with hidden agendas or manipulative intentions won't bring resolution, especially if your ex senses inauthenticity. You'll know whether your regret is sincere by checking how you feel when you express it. Do you take accountability without deflecting? Do you acknowledge specific ways you contributed to the conflict? Are you prepared to change or grow from this lesson, rather than making a hollow promise to do better? When you align your words with genuine intent, you'll create a restorative space for both you and your ex. When should you say sorry? There's no one-size-fits-all timeline. If your partner has made it clear that they want distance, you might wait until emotions cool, or you may write a short letter expressing your regret. Avoid turning the apology into a lengthy confessional of old issues or a guilt trip disguised as an apology. Instead, focus on your personal accountability. Mention the actions, words, or behaviors you regret, explain briefly why you realize they caused pain, and then express your desire to do better moving forward. Keep it concise, kind, and centered on healing. If your ex does not respond, you've still planted a powerful seed of reconciliation and self-growth. That effort now allows you to move to another crucial component of healing, implementing the no-contact rule. Implementing no contact might feel daunting. You likely have the urge to hear your ex's voice or get an update about their life. You may wonder if they've moved on or if they're still thinking about you. However, this is precisely why no contact works so well as a healing method. You gain emotional space to recenter and remember who you are outside of the relationship. You remove yourself from the cycle of hoping for messages or sending them. That distance is often the best way to break the feedback loop that can keep you stuck, disappointed, or confused. No contact doesn't necessarily mean never speaking to your ex again. It doesn't imply that your relationship was worthless or that you're pretending the other person doesn't exist. It's a strategic pause that shifts your energy toward mending the emotional injuries caused by the breakup. You grant yourself the grace of a clean slate, free from the lingering resentment or anger that often arises when ex-partners continue to interact prematurely. If you and your ex ever decide to reconnect, you'll do it from a more balanced and reflective headspace. No contact is crucial for several reasons. First, it prevents you from prolonging heartbreak or re-triggering unresolved issues by engaging in post-breakup arguments and emotional ping-pong. Second, it protects you from impulsive decisions that might make you appear needy, clingy, or resentful. Third, it encourages your ex to have a chance to process their own feelings. If they miss you, they'll recognize it on their own. If you chase relentlessly, you risk prolonging arguments, blocking a potential reconciliation, or halting your own healing. The no-contact rule also resonates with attachment theory. Individuals with anxious attachment styles often try to maintain contact to alleviate their fears of abandonment, while avoidant individuals might further distance themselves. By implementing no contact, you begin breaking unhealthy attachment patterns. You give yourself an opportunity to strengthen your self-reliance, practice emotional regulation, and step away from harmful habits like constantly checking your phone or social media for signs of your ex's new life. The idea of letting her chase might seem counterintuitive, especially if you're worried about losing her for good. However, you don't shift this dynamic to play mind games or manipulate. Instead, you shift to restore balance. One of the biggest mistakes individuals make after a breakup is overwhelming their ex with calls, text messages, or social media check-ins. This may generate annoyance, pity, or frustration, ultimately making your ex less likely to return. Instead, pulling back your energy and focusing on your own progress alters your ex's perception. They may notice the space you leave. They may even question if they should reevaluate the breakup. You also benefit from letting her chase because you redirect your energy away from fruitless pursuits. This approach doesn't force her to come back. It simply acknowledges that if she still holds genuine feelings, she'll show it. If she doesn't, you spare yourself weeks or months of heartbreak in an endless cycle of rejections. This new dynamic revolves around self-respect, healthy boundaries, and acceptance of reality. Nobody truly wants a partner who begs or pleads incessantly. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect. Stepping back and staying back until you both have the clarity to interact respectfully can serve as a launching pad for a more authentic connection down the road. You've begun no contact. You've apologized if appropriate. Now you sense she might reach out, or maybe she already has. How do you interpret her messages, calls, or social media interactions without falling back into confusion? This step can be tricky because you could be tempted to overanalyze everything. However, reading her responses accurately requires a measured approach that factors in tone, consistency, and context. Sometimes a simple, "Hey, how are you?" means she genuinely wants to see if you're okay and test the waters of a conversation. Other times, she might just be curious or fulfilling a habit. Don't jump straight into reading too much into a short message or an Instagram like. Instead, examine the broader picture. Do her messages suggest a willingness to resolve issues, or do they revolve around rehashing old arguments? Does she sound heartfelt about possibly meeting up, or is she merely checking whether you're still on her hook? Consistency in her communication style usually matters more than a one-off text. Genuine outreach typically involves warmth, curiosity about your life, and an effort to address unresolved conflict. You might notice that she asks about how you're doing, shares a meaningful memory, or expresses regret about certain aspects of the relationship. She might give you space to speak freely and listen without becoming defensive. Authentic outreach often comes at unexpected times, once the dust has settled, because it grows out of introspection and a genuine desire to reconnect. If you sense openness and empathy in her approach, it could signal that she truly wants to reestablish contact in a constructive way. Be cautious, though. Genuine outreach doesn't mean you should abandon your healthy boundaries. You can remain open to constructive conversations, but continue respecting your own emotional well-being. If you sense that talking too soon triggers more pain than progress, you have every right to pause and preserve your emotional resources until you feel ready. That helps you remain confident and authentic rather than desperate or reactive. Not all contact attempts come from a genuine place. Sometimes an ex might reach out because they feel lonely, bored, or insecure about seeing you move on. Their messages may lack the sincerity necessary to rekindle a relationship or establish a healthy friendship. They may also surface if they need a favor, want validation, or want to see if you remain stuck waiting for them. Look for a consistent mismatch between their words and their actions. For instance, if she says she cares but quickly disappears whenever you attempt meaningful conversation, that suggests an ulterior motive. Pay attention to whether she asks real questions about you, or if she primarily complains about her own issues. True reconciliation usually involves mutual exchange rather than one-sided emotional venting. Identifying these red flags helps you protect your progress. Don't revert to old patterns. Instead, stand firm in your boundaries as you continue redirecting your focus and energy toward personal growth. Redirecting your focus means turning your attention away from what your ex is thinking or doing and back to your own journey. This shift starts with small, mindful choices. You could engage in new hobbies or physical activities, take a weekend trip with close friends, or explore a personal project that you once shelved because of relationship obligations. When you direct your energy toward growth and exploration, you remind yourself that you have an identity beyond this relationship. In doing so, you break the grip of heartbreak and begin constructing a future brimming with possibility. Studies in positive psychology show that immersing yourself in meaningful experiences or flow activities can significantly boost your mood and overall sense of well-being. Whether it's cooking, painting, dancing, or picking up a foreign language, new pursuits channel energy that might otherwise spiral into worry or self-criticism. Over time, your brain builds fresh neural pathways linked to joy, curiosity, and self-confidence. These changes make you more resilient in the face of future stressors, including the emotional challenges of post-breakup reflection. This phase is critical because it's where you seize the opportunity to design a better life for yourself. Reflect on your lifestyle, daily routines, and personal values. You might realize that you neglected fitness goals or career ambitions when you were preoccupied with relationship drama. Or perhaps you lost touch with friends who truly support you. Now is the perfect time to reignite those fires. You could enroll in professional development courses, set up an exercise routine, or volunteer for a cause you care about. These new goals serve a dual purpose. First, they act as healthy distractions. Second, they help you construct a stronger identity. When you focus on self-improvement, you shift the conversation from, "How do I get her back?" to, "How do I become the person I truly want to be?" Ironically, this transformation often piques the interest of an ex who sees your newfound confidence and maturity. However, remember that your primary motivation should be your personal fulfillment, not a manipulative attempt to lure her back. Overanalyzing usually creates a mental trap that lures you into endless speculation. You read into every text, interpret every pause in her response, and mentally replay old arguments. Instead of enjoying the freedom of no contact and personal growth, you might cling to the past and amplify your heartbreak. To avoid that pitfall, focus on mindfulness techniques that ground you in the present. This can involve daily meditation, journaling, or going for walks and counting each step to bring your attention back to your immediate surroundings. Therapists often suggest self-monitoring thought patterns. When you catch yourself spiraling into "what if" or "why did she say that?" scenarios, gently redirect your attention to something productive. Over time, you condition your mind to detach from unhelpful cycles. This mental discipline fosters emotional stability, allowing you to handle any contact from your ex with grace and clarity. Remember, you get to control the narrative of your breakup recovery. Overanalyzing surrenders that power back to the uncertainty of external events. By actively focusing on progress, you embrace a healthy state of mind and a flourishing sense of self. Breakup recovery involves a journey that tests your resilience, self-awareness, and willingness to grow. You explore your emotional depths, accept the breakup, and apologize for your role in any conflicts. Then you adopt the no-contact strategy to allow yourself and your ex the time and space for reflection and healing. By letting her chase, you shift the dynamic so you don't seem desperate or overbearing. You also learn to interpret her responses more accurately, separating genuine outreach from ulterior motives. Finally, you redirect your focus toward your own life and invest in new goals. You avoid the trap of overanalysis by guiding your mind toward constructive pursuits and self-improvement. Throughout this process, you choose progress over stagnation and authenticity over manipulation. This approach might lead to reconciliation under better terms, or it might pave the way for a new chapter of your life that's even richer than before. Remember the words of John Gottman, a respected psychologist and author of the 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, who reminds us that healthy connections flourish when both people handle conflicts with genuine respect. Whether you rekindle this relationship or move on to a new one, that respect must first start within yourself. Own your story, harness your inner strength, and continue growing into the person you aspire to be.